What's up guys, it's Jpeasy, and this week we had some big things dropped on us. Lots of changes coming to Siege. So today I'll be going over all the details of the new season, focusing on the elements that will change how the game is played and some tips to improve your gameplay in Year 5, Season 3, Shadow Legacy. First, let's go over the star of the show, the protagonist of the Splinter Cell series, Stealthy Boy himself, Sam Fisher. I know they're trying to call him Zero as his operator name, but let's be real, everyone's going to call him Sam. Sam is a 2-speed, 2-armor attacker with an option of 2 primary weapons. He has his staple rifle from his Splinter Cell series, the SC-3000K, which is a bullpup style rifle dealing 45 damage per bullet at 850 RPMs with a 25 round mag. The fact it hits as hard as it does with very little recoil makes it a super solid choice. It has the option of the new red dot sight, the new flat hollow, the old reflex, and then the new 1.5 and 2x scopes. But with that being said, I'll be covering scopes much later in the video. His other primary option is the MP7, which he shares with Bandit. This gun also shares the same 32 damage per bullet at 900 RPMs with 30 in the mag. The only difference is Sam is allowed to equip the new 1.5x scope along with the standard 1x optics. For secondary gadgets, he has access to frag grenades and claymores, which between the two, nades are easily the better choice. We're still very firmly in the utility meta, and nades are always helpful to clear banshees, maestro cams, bulletproof cams, and especially shields. Pick the nades, it'll help your team out a lot. Sam's gadget is called the Argus Launcher, but people have already started nicknaming it Sam Cams, which is what I'll be calling it till the end of time. What it is, however, is a pistol deployed 2-way camera that is shot towards your intended target, and if placed properly, can burrow through walls, barricades, floors, ceilings, and even reinforcements to get a visual line on a specific area. When I say if deployed correctly, what I mean is while it can be deployed like a standard single directional camera, allowing it to function as like a flank watch or a post-plant support tool, it can be used offensively to peek into upcoming rooms if shot through a breachable wall, floor, reinforcement, or barricade. Now you can tell if you will get the 2-way functionality by the way the reticle expands to display a top arrow. This will indicate if it can look in both directions. If only the bottom arrow is showing, it can only view in one direction. On floors, for example, the metal bars will prevent you from viewing the room underneath, as those bars are not breachable. So it works like a virtual stud finder by displaying exactly where the bars are. This is very useful if you're trying to floor bang someone who is being pinged by a drone, for example, so you don't end up emptying a whole mag into the bars. Each SamCam also comes equipped with a single-use laser. This laser can be used to destroy gadgets, which includes Goyo shields, or can simply shoot enemies dealing 5 HP worth of damage. This can be useful if you are unable to clear specific utility as an alternative to Vertical Play or Thatcher, Chalet, or Twitch, but I don't consider it to be its primary function and therefore do not suggest wasting 2 or 3 of the cameras, as they are way more useful in other applications. These cameras have almost infinite places that they can be deployed, allowing for lots of creativity. It can and should be used in hard to see places outside a defender's line of sight. To show off an example of cam creativity, I'll show you a spot on Clubhouse. First, I'll show you if I'm playing any other operator and I'm trying to set up a flank drone where I set up my drone. Already preset. I use it on top of this bar, on top of these little TVs, basically giving a wide viewing angle if someone's coming from the door over here, as well as if someone's flanking from the bar for whatever reason, if we missed him inside of strip. So it gives a large viewing angle. You can see where the person's coming, and it's pretty well hidden right here on the bar. It's visible, but still pretty well tucked in. I'm not sure if you notice as I'm looking at this, there's also a SamCam in this picture. There's a drone. There's a SamCam. I blended in right in with the edge of the TV since it is black. From far away, pretty hard to catch. If someone's on the drone, it's going to be a bright yellow light, pretty easily to catch. But you can see that right above. And there's my cam. And there's me. Now, if you don't want someone to see the fact that someone's watching a flank drone, then you can think about it differently. Because typically if someone's going to be coming to flank, they're most likely going to be checking their corners, making sure no one's holding angles, and this is the typical movement they're going to be doing. There's another cam out besides this one. Probably can't see it because it's right up here. So now, from this perspective, your thought process, instead of having something that's viewing the entire angle but easily to be seen by a defender, is something that's more tucked in. So while you can't see him as he gets to the door, if you're pushing down the stairs or below church hatch, you'll be able to still see him with plenty of time to make a call, but without the defender knowing about it. The next gameplay system introduced, which I just showed a little bit in the previous clip, is the new ping system, or ping 2.0 as they're calling it. This is a contextual ping system similar to that of Apex Legends, where you ping specific things on a map such as traps, cameras, shields, or any other interactable object, and there will be an icon inside of the ping representing what that object is, so you can display it to your teammates. This includes the diffuser if you want to ping the location for your teammates to be aware of, for example. This also introduced the ping ability for drones and cameras, which also includes Yana's hologram, by the way. This is separate from scanning. This allows for precise pinging without enemies being aware they're being pinged. I can foresee a lot of wall and floor bangs and C4 kills due to enemies being completely unaware that they're being pinged. The new map for this season is the long-awaited rework of Chalet. Chalet was a map designed for a very different version of Siege than what we're playing now. And the new rework is a huge improvement. My initial impressions is it's very positive, with at least 3 bomb sites being viable with lots of variations and within the gameplay loop. I will be doing a full map guide and breakdown in the next coming weeks, so look out for that. Link in the card above and description below when that's going to be completed. You might have noticed that there's some new scopes in the gameplay that I've shown so far. That's because this season Ubisoft has decided to shake up the scope distribution and has introduced 4 new scopes. Sam having access to 3 out of the 4. You have the new red dot 1x scope, which is now my new favorite, replacing the old holo. And speaking of holo, we have a new version called the MH1, or what I call the flat holo. We've also gotten 3 new zoom scopes, with the 1.5x with a very clean circle with a small dot in the middle, and a 2x, which is a very good zoom scope with a large portion blocking the top left hand corner. So if you're turning to the left, it actually has a lot of blockage. On the DMRs only, we've got a new 3x scope with a great reticle, with a great optic there. And technically the old ACOG used to be a 3x. This whole time we've kind of been lied to, but this is now, the ACOG's been moved down to a 2.5, and you can see the comparison between the two here. Along with the new scopes, we also got the ability to change the color of the reticle in each scope. Using the 1.5 scope, for example, on Sam, you can see the standard red. Go into the options, over into accessibility. There's some presets default in the different colors of colorblind mode, giving you requests, but there's also a custom where you can change through all the different settings. Default, and we'll go over to light blue, dark blue, turquoise, my current go-to of green, light green, yellow, orange, darker orange, almost red, actual red. This is different from the default red because scopes that would otherwise would have been green are now this, just standardized to this, just this red. Then over to purple, white, which I do not recommend, and black. These new reticle changes should help the colorblind people in our community have better visibility into their optics, as well as give the rest of users some general customization options. The biggest conversation point along with the new scopes has been the changes of the way the sensitivity is being handled. They're implementing a separate scaling system for each scope to allow for more personalization of your sense. Now this is going to need a whole separate video, and I'll be preparing to do that next week, breaking down exactly how the system works. At the time of recording, Ubisoft has just released a new blog post, so I'll be making that easier for you to digest next week. Next is the shared reinforcement pool. This is a quality of life change where on defense, instead of each player having only 2 reinforcements, your team now has a shared pool of 10 where anyone can put up as many reinforcements as they choose. This can be fantastic for organized groups where there is someone who has lots of setup time, for example, like a smoke who's doing site construction. While that smoke is making rotates in lines of sight, the doc, who has like nothing else to do, can reinforce 4 or 5 walls all by himself. This does have a downside, however. For example, in my casual matches, all my other teammates assumed that other people reinforce, so I spent the entire prep round reinforcing every single of the 10 walls while they ran around the map like idiots. But hopefully this won't be consistent with my solo queue games in ranked once this goes on live. Here's to hoping. Next change was the introduction of a new secondary gadget, the hard breach charge. This is an alternative hard breach tool similar to thermite where you place a charge on a wall. It will take about 3 seconds to deploy, and once placed, it will instantly start the trigger. Then 6 seconds later, it will make a vaultable or crouchable hole, depending on the placement. This gadget will be given to Fuse, Capitao, Ying, Lion, Finka, Nook, Monty, and Amaru. Map bans will be introduced during this season, with a pool of 3 maps appearing and then both teams simultaneously choosing which map to ban. If both teams ban the same map, then you would get a randomly selected map between the last two. I'm really hoping that last part changes to one team selects then the other. That way both teams can actually ban a map, not the same one. But yay to never having to play a map you hate again. Match replay is currently being tested on the test server, and while an very early alpha version is being shown and it's quite buggy, being able to go back through my games that I played and see exactly how the enemy team was positioned and reacting to my play is something I can see assisting many players in their journey through improvement. When the full version is released, I'll be fully going over it in detail, as well as showing examples of how you can use it to find ways to improve your own play. So that's a lot of information and new content coming in the new season of Shadow Legacy. But this was just an overview, and I'll be diving a lot deeper into many of the new features over the next coming weeks. I hope this helps, and as always, my name is Jpeasy. Take it easy.